What's going on, everyone? In this video today, we're going to be looking at the remix.ethereum.org website to make a simple donation contract. In our previous two videos, we looked at admittedly a faulty counter smart contract, and then we were able to revise it a little bit and make a working counter contract using the same IDE here. And so today we're just going to jump into it and I'll explain how this donation contract works once we get it set up, compiled, and deployed. And we'll just go ahead and jump into it. And we've already created a new workspace by selecting here. And we'll just go back to our workspace, go down to contracts, go ahead and exit out of this and select a new contract. We'll call this donation contract. So, all right. So we've already got our contract created, and we'll go through it so we can kind of learn a little bit how this works together. So again, the smart contract is called a donation contract because it facilitates the process of receiving and managing donations. Let's break down the different pieces of the contract. So the first part you see up here is the SPDX license identifier. This is a license identifier that specifies the license under which the contract is released. In this case, it indicates the contract is released under the MIT license. Next, we have the version number for Solidity. This statement specifies the version of the Solidity compiler required to compile the contract. In this case, it requires version 0.8.18 or compatible. Next, we create the contract, and this is the contract donation contract statement. This line defines the start and end of the donation contract. Here we see, we have the integer and have named total donations. This declares a public state variable total donations of type uint256, which represents the total amount of donations received. Next is the address payable public owner. This declares a public state variable owner of type address payable. It represents the owner of the contract who has authority to withdraw funds. Next here, we have the address payable of public donation address. And this is just a testnet address that we have here for just for example purposes. And again, this declares a a public state variable of the donation address of type address payable. It represents the address where the donation funds are transferred. The provided address is as follows. Again, we'll move on to the next one, and the next one is the event. So the event of donation received, and then we address index donor and then integer amount. This defines an event of donation received that is emitted whenever a donation is received. It includes the address of the donor and the donation amount as index parameters. Here we have the constructor. The constructor function that is executed once, this is the constructor function that is executed once during the contract deployment. It initializes the owner variable with the address of the contract deployer, which in this case message.sender. Okay, so next we have our functions. This first function donate public payable. This function allows the user to make donations. It is marked as public and can receive either Ether payable. The function verifies that the donation amount is greater than 0, updates the total donations variable with the donated amount. emits the donation received, and transfers the donated ether to the donation address. Our last function here is the withdraw function. Well, admittedly, we won't use this too much because the contract is just meant to be interacted with by the owner, and we'll be focusing on the donation function working correctly. But just for defining it here in the smart contract, the withdraw function allows the contract owner to withdraw the accumulated donations. It verifies that the caller is in fact the contract owner, checks if there are any funds available for withdrawal, transfers the total amount of donations to the owner, and resets the total donations variable to 0. So in this case, this is kind of a worthless function, but we were able to get a little bit of help from the AI to write this. And so in this case, we're using it for the sake of our donation function here, because again, it's the same contract. The contract owner is in fact the same one that we're donating to. So we'll go ahead and briefly take a look at how we compile it, because it's very simple here on Remix. We're going to go to the Solidity compiler here on the right side. Make sure our version numbers match, and then we'll select compile. If everything's good, we'll receive that green check mark. We see it in two places here. And then next we'll go to the deploy and run transactions tab. Here you don't need to make sure there's any value to deploy. You can just make sure you're either in the Remix virtual machine for either merge or Shanghai. In the previous two videos we were using merge, but it worked correctly in merge and Shanghai, I've learned. So again, we'll go ahead and make the final deployment. Looks like it deployed correctly. And here we can open it up and see how the contract interface looks. So we'll pull our console up just a little bit so you can see it being called. There is the amount of donations that we've received so far. This is the owner of the contract. Here is the payable address, which is the same because we're using a testnet account. And we'll go ahead and test out the donation. So we'll donate 100,000 Wei, which is just a fraction of ETH. We'll go down here and click donate. You have to have a value again for the donate function to work correctly. So we'll go ahead and donate. We'll open up the transaction. You can see there's a value of 100,000 Wei. There we have a transaction hash, the contract, and the donation, and the gas. So we can see here, if we pull our donation now, we can see that we have 100,000 Wei in our total donations. And we can iterate it again. And we'll just do 500, donate, check our donations. We're at 100,500 Wei. So I hope this has been a little bit helpful. Again, I'm still learning Solidity myself. One thing I'd like to encourage any of our viewers to check out is Alchemy as well. This is a platform I've learned a lot on recently. In addition to the ethereum.org website, there's plenty of documentation here to learn about how Ethereum works, how smart contracts, how to get started writing smart contracts in your local environment. in addition to a lot of different resources that are out there to make learning Ethereum and smart contracts a little bit easier. But I just wanted to say thank you again for checking out this video. If you're interested in learning more, please check out some of the videos that I've uploaded in the past. And I encourage you to leave feedback in the comments below. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.